Hey guys, it's Michael Todd. Welcome to the Cult of Vintage. In today's video, we first have to do a little shopping, taking advantage, of course, of a Christmas sale and finding some other goodies and sparkles. We're going to fill up our cart because we got to head back to do some decor here. We're going to dive into the DIY of it all and do a little dance because why not? Super excited to show you guys not only how to decorate, but of course, a few money saving tips. So we obviously have a lot going on in today's video, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Already, as you saw earlier, we of course are going to go to Hobby Lobby where they do have 50% off all of their Christmas. The first thing that we're going to need, of course, for our tree are ornaments, and we're going to need a lot of them. We're going to get 100, we're going to get an 80 millimeter, and finally, we're going to get this big pack of 60 millimeter ornaments. Now, I have to say, we are doing a themed tree. The tree itself is flocked. I was a little tempted by these red and whites, but they were a little too whimsical for my personal style. I did see some white ones. I thought maybe we could add them in, but they were a little too stark, again, for my personal aesthetic, though I do love those iridescents. Speaking of the tree, as I said, we are going to do a flocked tree. This is the current Hobby Lobby flocked tree. This one is at 9 feet. Again, it is 50% off. This is the most similar to the tree that we are currently going to be doing. I have to say, at $265, it's a little pricey. We do have another example here. This one has the pine cones on it. This one is at $299. It's not hateful, but oof, it is a little spendy. I guess it's an investment piece though, because it's certainly something that you can use year round. The flocked tree is definitely, it's an aesthetic, it's a vibe. It's not to everybody's taste, but I have to say, I love the very outdoor feel that these give. Of course, if you have a smaller space, you can get an even smaller tree for just $35. The ultra slim, again, if you're working in a narrow space, perhaps like a hallway, this would be a great addition. You can certainly achieve the look. Here we've got a 7.5 foot, a monarch pine. I think the one that we have is the best. Now they even have, maybe if you're living in like an apartment, they even have these very small ones. This one's retailing at $19.99 and at 50% off for just $10. Definitely, I'm gonna add this into the cart because I do have an idea. We've got the lights here. I did see one of these at Ballard in Maine, a flock tree with the vintage colored bulb, so I might work with that. Jumping over to the ornaments, just to kind of check out what they have. Again, these are all 50% off, so at $4, this little keepsake ornament I think is absolutely adorable. Possibilities are endless with regards to what you could stick in there. I do ultimately end up holding off on it because I'm being very specific. Now, if you know me, you know I love a nutcracker. It's kind of like my spirit animal for Christmas is the nutcracker. I recently heard, you got to pick that theme. Is it nutcracker? Are you a tree person? Are you a gingerbread? Are you a Santa? What is that spirit animal for you for Christmas? Mine is definitely the nutcracker. These are not doing it for me, to be honest. They're a little cheap. I'm just going to say it. At $16, $8, ugh. These look a little too spooked. They're a little menacing. They're better than the other ones that transfer. Very much had a very shiny sticker decal. This is the worst of the three. I mean, this thing is just diabolical looking. Now we do spot this little gnome ornament here in kind of a mercury glass style. He is only $4, so I'm most certainly going to pick him up. This is one of those things where you go out and you see a color palette and you're like, okay, I'm obsessed with this. I am obsessed with this color palette. I think this is certainly something that I'm going to try to remember for next year. Now, jumping back to the ornaments here, we've got the very classic Christmas styles. Obviously, we're working with some mini ornaments here. You remember that small little burlap sack flocked tree? I'm thinking, why can't I just do like a mini garland, kind of like scaled down from our bigger one? And then I kind of find an ornament garland here. These are 50% off. Definitely an easier way to save some money at $28. I kind of loosely wrap it around the tree here. I'm not vibing with it. It's a little too overwhelming. So I'm like, I'm going to hold off on doing the ornament garland and just stick to the bulbs. Now, this is something that they have. It's a full like nutcracker line here. We've got the linens. I have to say, I'm not overly impressed with the linens. Again, I think they're a little cheap. I do spot, of course, I love the color palette on this. These deep, dark, woody colors at $27.99 with 50% off, $14. I am most certainly going to be picking up one of the cookie jars. They do have these mini mugs. I am so sad because mine has sold out. So if you do spot these, snatch them up. You do see the larger mugs down there. They did sell out of the larger mugs. So the mini mugs and the large mugs, those have sold out at mine. We do have a spoon rest. I'm not a spoon rest person. We do have the salt and pepper shakers. I was super tempted by the miniature versions, obviously, of the larger cookie jar, but I do hold off on it. I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to focus just on the Christmas decor. But, at $9, again, $4.50 for this vintage inspired mug, I think is absolutely darling. Thankfully, I do pick up the 2 mini mugs. I didn't even know it's like the last 2. So I'm super excited I got those, but I'm really sad that that's all that they had left and I didn't even realize it. I think I'm going to stick a bottle brush tree in there, but I'm definitely going back for the cookie jar. I mean, how can you not? I love that very old world style, those very deep, again, very jewel toned colors to it. Oof. That is just speaking my name. So $14, we're going to stick that in the cart. Now, not only do they have the Nutcracker cookie jars, but they've got some other great vintage inspired, like the Santa head here. This is super kitschy, very 40s, 50s vibe to it. I absolutely love these. Again, it's more like kitschy Christmas, which is fine. These giant mugs, I'm sad they didn't have this for the Nutcracker, or maybe they did, but they sold out of them. I'm not sure. And bonus, they even have Black Santa in the mug. Something a little bit more traditional, we do have the cardinal here, which I think is quite beautiful. The nice thing about this is that these can be taken throughout the winter, but I leave that behind. This aisle is the danger of it all. The holiday picks. Here's the deal. I, again, am working with like a monochromatic look, so I'm really focused on doing the reds. As you will see, I'm kind of tempted by these. Again, I think they look a little inexpensive for my personal taste. The gold glitter, no, I want the poinsettias. I most specifically want these velvet poinsettias. These are really pretty. There's ones with and without glitter going around the petals. I like the ones without the glitter. Again, they don't look as cheap to me. These are priced at $5. No, beg pardon. They're priced at $3 a pick, making them $1.50 per pick. I'm kind of exploring here, just checking out the prices. They're all a little expensive, to be honest with you. And I'm a little disappointed because, frankly, we need quite a few of them. Again, another $3 pick, making it $1.50. That's not bad. I really like these. But then that glitter, I really try to reduce the amount of glitter. I do have ornaments that are glittered, which is fine, but the flowers just don't do it for me. It makes them look, well, frankly, artificial. So I do try to stick to something a little bit more realistic. I'm looking at the red picks. I'm not vibing with any of it, truth be told. Like the spirals, the red glitter pine cones, those things aren't just realistic. I'm like, wait a minute, let me go over here into the garland and look at that. Here we've got those velvet poinsettias with leaves, might I add. I want to add some green in there, and I'm like, these are the same thing. It's $20 for an entire garland. The garland contains 10, which you see me counting, 10 of the velvet poinsettias. Plus we're getting an additional, the leaves. Again, I can't with that. $1.50. $1.50. Those are a definite no. Those are $1.50 each, meaning we actually get another 50% savings by buying the garland and just snipping it off. You're going to see that later on. when we do the tree. Again, another great way to save some money is check out those garlands. While you do spend a little bit more per garland, if you go and you snip those little picks off, substantial savings. I have to go. I have to do it. I have to do the Christmas candles. The big thing that I noted with the greens is that there's actually two different scents. There's tree trimming and what was it, Christmas wreath. This one, or the green wreath, beg pardon, the green wreath was on point. The tree trimming wasn't my favorite. This one, it smells old school. It's very vintage, has a very vintage smell to it, so I love it. The red ones, you'll occasionally catch me buying a red, more like the Christmas Joy. They're spicy, or the bayberry. I love a good bayberry, but you're really hard pressed to get a good organic smelling bayberry. This one was quite delightful, I have to say. Frosted Mountain. It had like an icy pine scent to it, so that one wasn't too bad. Definitely would recommend that one, but the jars, or the satin glass jars, are definitely my favorites. You know, we're going for pine. Here are the inflatable ornaments. I was super tempted by this. This is a really good, inexpensive way to get a very large ornament. And I wanted to kind of contrast the colors here. My problem with it is that the vinyl was very thin. It was very translucent. So the color wasn't going to match up very well. I'm struggling trying to get down into the ornaments to get out of the way. Get out of the way. I want to see. Yeah, no. Once that's blown up, there's going to be too much light coming through, as you can see in the photo there. So sad but true. I have to leave these behind, but maybe it'll work with your color palette. $3. This would be great to place at the bottom of the tree, but unfortunately, the color it's not going to work for me. I am obsessed with the scents. Truth be told. We have a foaming wash here, which actually smells really good, but this one, the balsam and firewood, that is on point. If you all have that, definitely pick it up. It's very piney and woody. Bottle brush trees. Remember, we got the Nutcracker little mini. Yeah, check it out. Oh my gosh, that is such a cute look. And now I'm watching it on video again, and I'm like super sad that they only had 2 of those left, and I went back twice. They haven't restocked them. We filled up our cart. I said it. We filled up, and I did good. I only got 2 things. Well, 3. Well, no, I was obsessed with this. I didn't get it, but look at the sparkle on that. For your napkin rings, I mean, how sophisticated and elegant would that look? Oh, that's gorgeous. They are, what is that, $5.50 each, which isn't hateful, but yeah. Another little quick DIY are these little pines. Note that they're little place card holders. What I think would be really cute is if we painted that tin in a more traditional Christmas color and just stuck a little ribbon on there and put like an antique postcard in there in place of a place card holder, pardon. They have different varieties and styles. It's just not my vibe. I like this one, the more organic one here. $2. It's a quick, easy DIY. Mom's there and she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm going to DIY this. It's $2. I'm explaining the whole process. She's like, okay, I'm going to make it work. I'm just looking for one that's very full. It's one of those things like with the bottle brush tree, like some of them are fuller, some of them are not. So definitely inspect them. Don't just grab a handful and expect them all to look the same. They're going to be similar, but yeah, not all are equal. We spent $102.27. It's not hateful for filling up the cart, but then I decided I needed to go to Walmart because Hobby Lobby was disappointing in the lights, and these are the kind of lights. I'm going to show you in an upcoming video how that little mini burlap frosted tree looks, and I do decide to go ahead and pick up some more shatterproofs. I do not recommend getting those because Hobby Lobby is way cheaper, as we will discuss. I decide, since we're here, I'm going to go ahead and get the ingredients for some Chex Party Mix. We might make that together in an upcoming video, but let's get to decorating. The thing that I want to show you is, of course, the tree. Now, I have obviously already started to decorate it, but as you will see, it still has a lot of negative space, so I'm going to go back in and fill it in, make it a little bit more lush. So that is what we're going to concentrate on. But before we do that, I do want to show you quickly how to make this ornament garland. So let's start there really quick. Okay, so first up, the first thing that I want to apologize for is I am out on the atrium of the inn. So if you do hear some cars go by, my apologies for that. Now, to get into the actual garland, there's really, outside of the ornament, only two things that you are going to need. The first up is your wire. Now, I did get this at Hobby Lobby. It is, of course, in a metallic red. You know, it comes in silver and gold and black and all kinds of different colors. Obviously, I went for the red because it blends into the ornaments. If I hadn't found this, I would have been just fine using any other color because honestly, once it's on the tree, you don't see it. And of course, you're gonna want some wire snips just so that we can cut the wire a little bit easier. Now, with the ornaments, you're gonna want a wide variety of different sizes. All right, so we have 3 different size ornaments, just for the sake of showing you how to make the garland. The first up, these are the shatterproof. Of course, you saw me buy them at Hobby Lobby. These are the 60 millimeter. One of them, I feel like I just pulled. This one is from Walmart. This is from Hobby Lobby. So these again are the 60 millimeter. We have the 80 millimeter, and finally we have the 100 millimeter. Now they do, of course, make larger ones. You are gonna see the larger ones on the tree. You don't have to use the larger ones, but I would recommend at least getting 3 different sizes. It just adds a little bit of dimension to your garland. I am, of course, showing you the 3 metallic ones, but in there we have matte and glitter. And as you saw me pick up the ones at Walmart, I do have some different textures. Like for example, this particular one that says Noel. We have another one. They're a little baroque, these particular ornaments, but we're gonna use these patterned ones, not in the garland, but to kind of fill in the negative space. Okay, so next up, I'm gonna pull out a length of the wire. I'm going to make it longer than what I foreseeably need it. I do recommend, don't think that you have to make one giant strand. It's gonna be way too cumbersome to be able to work with it once it's on the tree. Make shorter garland pieces because it's gonna make it so much easier for you to actually wrap it on the tree. First thing that you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna want to, of course, take your wire. We're gonna thread it through here. Some people may think, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and tie that right off like this. You can do that. My recommendation is to actually give yourself quite a bit of extra lead on here. We're just gonna twist it around to secure that ornament. It will be our anchor. The reason I am recommending to leave this particular piece on is because when you go to mount it onto the tree, guess what? You can wrap this around the branch to secure it versus doing an extra piece of wire where you have to loop it through and then secure that piece to the wire. This makes it a lot easier to work with, I promise you, okay? Now, here's the thing, and this is gonna be all subjective, but I am going to show you what I recommend, and I'm gonna tell you why I recommend it. I have seen people take, so what one was this? This is our 100 millimeter. I'm going to take an 80 millimeter one and wrap it on there. Maybe, okay. This is totally up to you, however you want to texture it. I'm gonna go ahead and throw on one of our smallest one, our 60 millimeter. This is in glitter. Try to break up the different finishes. You don't have to have different finishes, by the way. You can use whatever colors you want to. Okay, I'm gonna leave it like that. I have seen some folks recommend putting 3 balls on here. You can do that. Okay, the reason I am recommending not doing that is because one, it's going to be way more costly, and two, as I have found through experience, it makes it so much more difficult to actually put on the tree. Okay, and quite frankly, you end up losing a lot of the ornaments once it's on the tree, so you kind of are wasting it. Now listen, if you want super full glam, you are not concerned about the budget of it all, then put as many on there as you want. Nope, we have 100 millimeter, we put an 80 and a 60, we put another 80, right? To create that texture. And we're just gonna keep on doing that and keep on doing it until you feel satisfied with it. What did I just put on there? I recommend starting at the top of the tree, as I have experienced myself. See, look at that. You don't really need to go crazy with it. I've got all of these small ones pulled out. I need some ones here. I want a mat. We're gonna put a mat on that. I like the monochromatic look. I will tell you this much, no shade. It's, again, it's subjective. I traditionally, like, because this is out in the atrium for the guests to see when they come in, I probably wouldn't do this in my own personal home. The reason is because it's very much a designer kind of tree, and it very much makes me, it evokes the thought of it being in like a department store. Some people love that. Some people want that department store, that very polished, that very high-end look. Clearly, we are going for that. First impressions. Of course, here at the inn, we want to wow people. The designer trees, or the viral trees of it all, do have a wow factor to it. But in my own private home, I do something far less formal. I like kind of the mismatch, the no rhyme, the no reason to the trees. It's very homey, it's nostalgic, it's very vintage. And I do like that. I know that the ornaments look a little loosey-goosey, but again, once we get that on the tree, it's gonna help fluff those balls out and really create a beautiful look. So that's really as simple as it is. When you get to the end, you're gonna repeat exactly what we did here at the beginning, and that is by threading that last ornament on there and securing it, just twist it around and leaving a tail end so that you can wrap that to a branch and secure it, okay? It is that simple. It's not difficult. Anybody can do this, really and truly. Just go for it. My other big piece of advice is don't be afraid to make mistakes. The more you're afraid to make a mistake, you're gonna make more mistakes. Make it organic, right? Don't be afraid. Just dive in, just go for it. If you don't like it, oh my gosh, what's the worst you're gonna have to do? Take them off with a piece of wire and do it again? So what? We're not, this isn't rocket science. We're not curing any kind of incurable disease here. Have fun with it, enjoy it, throw on some Christmas music, and just go for it. But it's that simple, y'all. It is that simple. Okay, so like I said, I started at the top of the tree. Again, it's subjective, it's all up to you. I'm not the biggest fan of kind of like the picks coming out of the top. It's just not my vibe, okay? What I simply did was know that I have the garland wrapping around the tree, right? I just put the garland on there and I secured it. And I went on an angle, okay? Just place your garland on. Just place the garland on, okay? Just place that garland on and chill with it for a minute. Step back and look at it, okay? Clearly we've got negative space in there, and that is why I went back and got all of these ornaments. Once you have the ornament garland on, you can go in and put in your much larger ornaments just to kind of give it even more depth, more character to it, right? These larger ones, these are not attached to the ornament garland. They are separate, which makes it a lot easier for you. Next thing that I do recommend is you can leave it just with the ornament garland, totally cool. Throw in your ornaments, call it a day. Or you can really next level it up by adding in different greenery, picks, florals. Obviously, we're keeping it very monochromatic. I did throw in some hits of white to kind of pick up the flocking on the tree. Again, play with it. What I ultimately did is I have the berry pick. I have these little, I think these are bayberries, if I'm not mistaken, for a little bit of green. We've got our large velvet poinsettias. And then these were like really inexpensive poinsettias. I mean, they're like inexpensive. Do you know what I'm saying? Have fun with it. Oh, and then we do have the white, of course, flocked poinsettia. But have fun with it. I think that it adds a lot of, clearly it adds like an organic feel to it. Y'all, there was no rhyme or reason to this. I just put them in. Obviously, I concentrated kind of like around the hips of the tree, if you will. I would recommend, starting there and just putting your picks in. These are not attached. These are all loose. They are all individual picks. It makes it so much easier for you, right? Now, like I said, I went ahead and used the greenery that we have in our garland and really did that for the star, if you will, versus using kind of like, I know a lot of people are doing like the branches, which is coming out like this explosion at the top, which is cute. It's fine. It's a vibe. It's just not mine. I want something a little bit more polished, and it does help tie the entirety of the tree in. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at with it. Look, is this perfect? No. Am I staring at it and thinking, I could really do X, Y, and Z? Sure. But I'm going to trust the process, and I'm going to go ahead and start filling in some of this negative space with our smaller ornaments. And don't forget, as you saw over to Hobby Lobby, I did pick up these poinsettia garlands, which I do recommend checking out the garland for your greenery versus buying individual picks. I think it was 10 poinsettias that I get on here. It was $10 versus having to spend $1.50 per poinsettia. So what would that have been? $15. So it was 50% more. It was a 50% savings by doing it per strand versus buying them individually. All right. Money saving tip there. Check out the garlands. See if you like the greenery. You're going to save way more money by buying the garlands. Look, these are just on wires. We're going to take those wire snips, snip these off, and then put them in the tree. Okay? It's way cheaper. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the ornaments on. Not the flowers, not the greenery. Put the ornaments on and then fill in with your greenery. Okay? Let's do it. Can you guys see? I think you can see. All right. What I'm going to do, I'm actually going to take the beginnings of our DIY garland. I don't need the garland at this point, like clearly. So I'm going to take these bulbs off and I'm going to individually hang these. I just realized I did not pick up ornament hooks. So do you know what I'm going to have to do is like snip 1,000,001 pieces of wire onto these. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm not going to do it on camera because, annoying. Darn it. That's it. That's all that I did. I am starting, again, these are, what is this? 100 millimeter bulb. and I'm going to put those into the tree. Again, not worrying about mistakes. Have fun with it. The mistakes make it unique. We're just going to play around with it, and then I am going to do this to our 80, and then I'm going to do this to our 60, and we're going to fill it in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back with the poinsettias, and then we're going to fill in with the poinsettias. So again, not worrying about mistakes. Lame. All right, so again, we just put in those 100mm bulbs. Again, there's still lots of dead space. I did not worry about where I was placing them. It looks a little rando, but that's okay because we've got all of those ornaments to go yet. So we started with a 100. What we're gonna do, we're going to go to our 80s. And again, I've got to go ahead and put these wires on all of these. That's okay. Ay, ay, ay. All right, all of our 80mm have been wired. Let's put them on the tree. Let's talk about what I'm doing. You're gonna note it here, right? See how I put the smaller next to the larger, smaller next to the larger, smaller next to the larger. We're gonna continue that process. Obviously, we have more small ornaments, the 80mm, again, 80. So I guess we should say this is the large, this is the medium. So I'm pairing large with the medium. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna pair in with more small. Now, as I was saying, we have more mediums than we do larges, more smalls than we have larges or mediums. And that's what's really gonna help bring it all together. Whoa. Let's continue. All right, so all of our large have been paired up with a medium at this point. We still have more of our mediums left. What I am going to go ahead and do is look for bald spots in the tree. That is where I'm going to place the mediums, right? Because we've got quite a few of our smalls. I'm gonna pair the smalls up with the large and mediums, but no, I've got single mediums that I'm going to pair up with the smalls. Is that making sense? So we're creating clusters in graduated sizes because ultimately we're gonna have more smalls than we have clusters, and that's gonna finally fill in our tree. See, we're getting there. Alright, this is only like 28 of them, and I've got a lot more to do. But what we're going to do is we're going to take our smallest, the 60mm, and I am going to attach one of these 60mm, the smalls, with every cluster and single. So we've got our clusters of large and medium. A small is going to go with every single one of those. We have the single mediums. A small is going to go with every single medium. We are going to have far more of these small ones left over. When we get to that point, that's when I'm going to go in and fill in even more of the dead space. I do love doing this, I'm not going to lie. It is a little bit of a pain, truth be told, but the end result is pretty spectacular. So. And people are like, this is expensive. It is. I'm not, listen, you know, it's expensive. The ornaments alone are at $150. keeping in mind all of the greenery outside of the 2 poinsettia garlands that we bought today at $20, all of this was from last year. Now, I want to say these berry picks and these bayberries we got at a local place, Lily's Garden, and she did, what was it? Was it 75% off? It was like crazy Christmas clearance. So we got these at a fraction. These greenery, the bayberry, they might have been like $1.50. So my advice to you, wherever it is, whether it's a Hobby Lobby, a Michael's, a Walmart, if you have a local small business, and this is something that you want to do, my recommendation is one of two things. Go immediately after Christmas. Don't worry about all of the junk. Go for the decor. You're going to get it at a fraction of the cost. That is a tremendous savings. You are going to have to store it for a year, but you are going to spend 75% less than what you normally would. Or if you can, throughout the course of the year, pick up things as you can. Hobby Lobby doesn't carry the extent of Christmas that they do carry some Christmas year round. I'm not too familiar with the ornaments like that, but those are ways that you can kind of help at least defray the cost. Though the biggest tip is going immediately after Christmas to stock up for next year, because that's really where you're going to save money. The other way, is you're just defraying the cost. You're kind of spreading it out throughout the course of the year, which is fine, especially if you see things that you just absolutely love. Are you just going to be a jerk? Sure, then do that. But I would really recommend trying to get in there on the clearance and just doing it that way, really and truly. Okay. So like I said, we're just going to continue to put our smallest with every cluster and every single. We're going to finish that up. And then I've got to wire even more of these bad boys. Ooh, ooh. I like this one. Isn't that fabulous? That shape is great. These are Walmart ones. 26, what was it? 26, it's this. They have different colors. 26, I think the barcode's on the bottom. It is. There it is. Screenshot it. $6. Which let's do a little 50 for 8. Go to Hobby Lobby and get the 50 for $8. Okay, bye. All right, she's getting there. Okay, see what we did. Clusters of 3, clusters of 2, and now I gotta go find my other wire. I gotta wire up all these bad boys. And what we're gonna do, we're going to, and again, y'all, no rhyme and reason to this. I literally was just like, wherever, whatever. I am now going to take small ones and just start tucking them in where I'm seeing the largest gaps. I do want the tree to still show, okay? It is a Christmas tree. It's a Christmas tree, folks. I like knowing that the tree is still a tree and not this solid wall with ornaments. Perspective, opinion, that's just where I'm at with it. One other cost-saving thing. If you want to save money, do not do a 360 tree. A 360 tree is where you can see the entire tree. You can walk all the way around it. All angles of the tree are visible. I know folks like to put a tree in a window. right on. Here's the deal. If you have a standard window, fine. You're gonna see, this is, I swear this is a 10.5 foot tree. We're gonna see, maybe depending on the window, part of it through like the mid. You can kind of skirt around, not doing the very top, but you're not gonna see it. You're gonna be bald on the back inside the home. Um, if this was facing the window, we probably wouldn't have had to do like this part, but we'd have to do it on the front. Now, if you've got like this, we're almost at a 360. All right. I'm at like a 75% reveal. It's bald back here. Okay. It's against the wall. I'm not doing all that. I will tell you, we're gonna have to readjust the tree. You can't really see it from here, but she's leaning forward. She's leaning forward. Leaning forward. All right, let me go find the other wire. That only took 30 minutes out of my life. Time to get to wiring these little ones. Oh, but cool. I did find another 100 and an 80, so we are going to do another cluster. I haven't. We're going to work on that. Oh, I did it. 50. They're all wired up. What? Now we're gonna put it on the tree. Okay, so 60mm smalls. We're gonna fill it in. And then our final step is our poinsettia garland that we're gonna have to cut apart, but that's okay. So we're gonna fill her in. Here we go. Okay, we are at the final countdown at this point. You guys, we've got all the ornaments on it. So you were with me, we went to Hobby Lobby. We bought this garland. Again, another way to save money. Go for the garland. It's not, Lord knows, the garland anymore isn't always that much cheaper. But you just look, just in case. We got the poinsettia garland. It is a total of 10, I want to say. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 poinsettias plus there are some green leaves on here, which is nice because it's nice to have that green on there, especially an organic looking green. I am just going to simply start at one end. So the garland itself is just on a wire. We don't need that. We're going to go through and cut each of these stems off. Look, you could leave it on here if you wanted to. I would rather have the loose floral picks than the garland personally, because it just, for me, I work a little bit better that way. There is some good space in between these. I think putting them in individually is most certainly going to give us a little bit more of an organic look. Again, something you want to keep your eye out for, especially after Christmas. Because what, at 75% off? At $20, what would this be? Like $5? Not even. Wait, yeah, $5. You get all of these picks for $5. That's insane. You think about it like that. Always think ahead. Always think ahead. Ooh, some of these are. We've got a lot of flowers to put in here, poinsettias, clearly. We're just gonna tuck them in. Look at this poor little bulb vine. We're gonna tuck them into the tree. Again, not afraid to make mistakes. let's do it. I'm gonna throw this over here. I'm gonna tuck them in. Okay, we're almost there, you guys. All right, y'all. There she is in all of her glory. Like I said, I still wanted to be able to see the tree. I am pleased, especially for the first time ever. Hope you guys enjoyed this designer tree. Stay tuned for some more Christmas updates. Hopefully you guys will follow along. We'll see you there. Bye guys.